Lee, Rissa, can you help me out?
Yes, yes.
My beloved is mine, and I am his. We feed among the lilies.
Your breasts.
Say it again.
Your breasts are like two fawns, twin fawns of a gazelle grazing among the lilies.
His cheeks are like beds of spices, mounds of sweet-smelling herbs. His lips are lilies, dripping liquid myrrh.
How beautiful your sandaled feet, O prince's daughter. Your graceful legs are like jewels, the work of an artist's hands. Your navel is a rounded goblet that never lacks blended wine. Your waist is a mound of wheat encircled by lilies.
You might recognize the Song of Solomon. Anybody know they were listening to the Bible? When they were listening to this? You were reading the Bible. We actually got we actually got the Old Testament into a unity sermon. Yeah.
Marion's flashing. That's hot, right?
This talk is called Embracing the Beloved. So we're going to unpack a little bit about what that means for us, and what that means for us in a spiritual context, in a physical way, being fully present. Quote from John of the Cross: "Oh, how gently and how lovingly dost thou lie awake in the depth and center of my soul, where thou in secret and in silence alone, as its Lord abidest, not only as in thine house and in thine own chamber, but also as within my own bosom, in close and intimate union." The ideas for today include a real, live, physical intimacy with our humanity and our relationship with God. How well are we sharing, would be a better way of saying it. How well are we sharing what it means to be human with God? I don't know about you, but that's the most difficult thing I experience. You know, I'm a pretty heady guy. I like to spend a lot of time in my head. But it's taken some spiritual tools in order to move from my head into my body and feel the sensations of what's going on, and without just getting triggered and running off with the sensations. And the thing that has helped me most is what is colloquially called prayer. But I experience it more as a dialogue, and more as a sharing, and more like God is really, really interested in what is going on with me. Feeling. What am I feeling? What's going on? What are my hopes? What are my desires? How am I using my desires? There are parts of my humanity that I keep discovering that I'm not sharing with God. I keep alone, keep to myself. There are things I feel, I keep discovering that I feel, or that I have desires about, that I keep to myself. There's usually every year, maybe a couple of months or so, I discover that I'm trying to keep something from God. A thought or an idea. I'm angry at somebody, I'm resentful, I'm having feelings I'm not supposed to have, you know, and makes me nervous. But what are your friends for? What do you do with your friends? You call up your friends and you go, I need to be talked off a cliff. Because I'm about to do something that I really know is like not the good thing, but I just don't see a way out of it. So you call your friends to talk you off a cliff. That's prayer for me. I understand today that when I reach out to God God reaches back. My personal walk with God is one of a greater and greater and deeper intimacy. I used to read the Song of Solomon in, high school, in junior high, and think it was like pretty racy stuff, And it's fun to look at that way. But there's a physical feeling of what mind would you have to be in to talk like that with God? Both of those characters, the man and the female, are both God and both the beloved as well. I chose those passages because sometimes God is saying, it is so cool to be you. I am so in love with you. Every little thing that you do, every quirk, every eyelash, every weird little lovely thing that you do and think, I'm in love with. God is saying, you're just marvelous. You're undescribable. And sometimes we're saying that to God, saying, I cannot believe the majesty and the beauty of you and what I'm experiencing, the awe of being embraced by God. Being that physical, I experience it as a physical sensation of basking in the warmth of God's love. But one of the things we do here at Unity really well is talk about God in the first person, like I am God. We're really comfortable with that. I'm offering you a chance at doing some healing work on the second person God, the Lord, in the songs we did today. But not in a hierarchy. Because if you are God, then the one you're talking to is yourself. Sean says that all the time. It's a friendship. It's a lover. It's the physical feeling of wanting to have a shoulder to cry on, to share your heart with somebody. That's a really intimate friend. I hope you've had at least one intimate friendship in your life. That somebody knows who you are. Every part of who you are. There is I hope you've experienced in your life somebody who knows all the weird things that you do. God's really interested in your humanity. I know she's been very, very interested in mine. I'm really, really grateful for my relationship with God. I'm really, really grateful for the constant prayer that this inspires in me. The other aspect is sometimes I get really frustrated with God. I want things to happen faster. And I want things to happen like I want them to happen. Because I know the way God is supposed to be unfolding in my life. I'm praying for these things and they're not coming. Right? I'm praying for these experiences. I'm doing the work. I'm on the meditation cushion. I'm reading the passages. I'm doing the work. Why am I so stuck? And I get kind of like mad. Really frustrated. One thing I like about the Jewish tradition is there's a long tradition of arguing with God. Like, oh yeah? I don't think so much. What if we do it this way? Arguing with God. That's been a really healing place for me. To be able to be frustrated and angry at God and be able to say, unlike I could with my father or my mother as a child, he goes, Dad, Mom, I'm really, really, really mad at you. I never said that to my parents. I never told my parents I was furious with them. Not until I was much older and after a lot of therapy. So I share that with God today. I share that things aren't working out like I thought they were going to work out. In the moment, it doesn't feel that way. One of my favorite poets is a man named John Dunn, and he wrote this about this feeling. Batter my heart, three-personed God, for as yet but knock, breathe, shine, and seek to mend, that I may rise and stand, o'erthrow me, and bend your force to break, blow, burn, and make me new. I, like a usurped town, to another do. Labor to admit you, but oh, to no end. Reason, your viceroy in me should defend, but is captived, proves weak and untrue. Yet dearly I love you, and would be loved fain, but am betrothed to your enemy. Divorce me, untie and break that knot again. Take me to you, imprison me. For I accept you, enthrall me, will never be free. It's like, stop making this so difficult. Just come do it. Just come make my life better. Just shower down on me. Make it happen already. I want to awake. I want to feel better. I want this to stop. I want this to start. Those kind of prayers have been very, very, very healing for me, as you can tell. There's an intimacy with God that I'd like to offer you to explore if you haven't already. I know some of you have. Some of us have really great prayer lives around here. I've learned a lot about prayer and the retreats and things with y'all. So I'm not saying anything you don't already basically know. But what I keep finding out is there's more intimacy. There's more to go. There's more to share. I am a tremendously, wonderfully complex and faceted human being. And you are too. I know that because I don't know each of you as intimately as God does. And what I do know of you, I think is fantastic. I'm really grateful to be a part of this community. I'm really grateful that I can share with you my heart. Like Kenneth's song was saying, share my heart with you. And we practice that here a lot as well. We share it with each other. Community is a really, really very good place to practice this idea of spiritual intimacy. Who could you possibly say, your thighs are like wheat and your navel is like an unending flow of blended wine, and mean it. You're intoxicating. Your very presence is intoxicating. It's intoxicating to others. Imagine how intoxicating your intimate, personal humanity is to God. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to be with. God's more than my best friend, more than the intimacy. There's a conversation all the time that's happening. Yesterday, as I was coming home, I met some people at the mailbox. You know how you're in an apartment building, often you meet at the mailbox and you end up talking and talking and talking. So my routine got kind of messed up because I sat and talked and there was a new person there. We were talking about where the restaurants are. So this great Pakistani place down the street. So I ended up not putting my keys. Had my keys and I didn't put them back in my bag. I put them in another little place on me and I didn't, wasn't kind of all there. So I realized I wanted to run an errand before I went to bed at the deli down the street. So I'm looking around for my keys. I ended up propping the door open at the big main door at the thing open and leaving my thing unlocked and running down to the deli and back before somebody would undid the stopper, because I could not find my keys. So Yolanda calls me last night, and, we're kind of talking and chatting about our day, and I said, I lost my keys. I got in the house, I got the mail, I got everything, but the keys are somewhere in the house, and I don't know, where they are, because I got in the house, but I don't know where my keys are. In my head, the Holy Spirit said, look in your briefcase. Now, I had already looked in my briefcase. That was the first place I looked, because that's my coat and my briefcase were what I had. I had already looked in my briefcase. I'd already dumped my briefcase out and put it in there because I was in such a frantic, where are my friggin' keys? Holy Spirit said, look in your briefcase. So while I was on the phone with Yolanda, I went and got my briefcase. And I reached right in my briefcase and pulled out my keys. Because when I decided to ask God where my keys were, I got my keys. Now, that's a really silly kind of simple answer, but that's how I make the excuse that something is too mundane to share with God. It's too trivial, God really can't be bothered with my keys. God is really bothered with me. God pays a lot of attention to me. All the attention I can possibly stand. So, with that idea, I've got one last thing I'd like to share for you. It's a quote by a wonderful philosopher, Henri Nouwen. There is in each of us an inner voice of love that says, you are the beloved of God. I want you to claim your belovedness. You don't have to get caught in searches that lead nowhere. Neither do you have to become the victim of a manipulative world or get trapped in any kind of addiction. You can choose to reach out for a true inner freedom and find it ever more fully. From the moment we claim the truth of being the beloved, we are faced with the call to become who we are. Welcome to the queenship. Welcome to the kingdom. Welcome to now. You carry an intimate lover and best friend with you at all times, that's available for the talks that you want to have and long for. There is a physical feeling of intimacy that's available. I know this to be true because I live it, and I offer myself as testimony to, if I can do it, we can all do it together. Thank you for helping me practice.